And if you're ready to have an incredible call today, like you really mean it, say yes. Yes.
The big difference between a warrior and a victim is that the victim represses and the warrior reframes.
That was powerful.
Yeah. I love it.
Thank you.
I love it. So Bert, you want to take over? Are you ready?
Absolutely.
Well, just taking over spontaneously like you do really deserves a really huge welcome. So I want to hear you guys. Round of applause to Bert. Let's welcome him like we should. Bert. Yes.
In the 1950s, Prudential Insurance Company, which at that time was the largest insurance company in the world with close to $1 billion in assets, the president of the company at that time was a gentleman by the name of Albert Gray, Albert E. Gray. And Albert Gray had to speak before the $1 Million Roundtable, which was a group of agents throughout the country, throughout the world, who had produced at least $1 million in life insurance production. In the 1950s, that was quite a formidable task. He had a hard time writing the speech, but he wanted to get to the core of the problem, and he called his speech, and you can probably find it online, it was called The Common Denominator of Success. And what he did is he tried to fathom, why is it that Prudential itself, a company that had over 50,000 agents, sales reps, why was it that some guys were making, $250,000, $500,000 in income, and others were struggling to just make, the minimums? And it really puzzled him. So he went out in the field and he talked to some of the top agents in the company, and he talked to some of the ones that were borderline getting fired to try to come up with an answer, because he wanted to basically know what makes one person succeed and another one failed. So as he talked, he interviewed one of the top agents, and when he spoke to the top agent, he said, you're making, almost $500,000 a year. Here it is, 1953, which is an incredible amount of money for that day and age. Today, that would be equivalent of making probably like $5 million or $10 million, I guess, if you did the math. And he said, you work 6 days a week. You work 12 hours a day. Why do you do it? He says, obviously, you have money set aside. You have a beautiful home. He says, the agent said, when I was growing up, my parents didn't really have much. My father worked in the coal mines in Pittsburgh, and so we just basically lived, I guess what you would call paycheck to paycheck. And I made a decision growing up that if I had the opportunity, I would never put my children through that position where they didn't have anything. He says, I didn't own a pair of shoes until I was 15 years old. I used to just use my brother's shoes. It was hand-me-downs. And he said, what I wanted to do is I wanted to make sure that my kids had the best of everything, that they were able to go to the best schools, the best colleges, and that they had a nice roof over their head and good clothes. When he interviewed the guys that weren't doing that well, and he asked them, why aren't you doing that well? He says, well, it's a job. It's just something that I do to pay the bills. And you could tell that there wasn't any fire underneath the individual. When he compared his notes, what he found was that the people that were getting the job done, they were willing to do and pay whatever the price was that the unsuccessful people weren't willing to do. And you've probably heard that expression before. Successful people are willing to do what unsuccessful people are unwilling to do. In other words, the successful people were more interested in the final objective, or what they called the end result, rather than the process. In other words, they were willing to sacrifice. They were willing to pay the price for the goal. They wanted pleasurable ends, a pleasurable result, and not a pleasurable means. And I see this now, a lot of people posting in the challenge, And it brought up that speech to mind because I was in the $1 Million Roundtable, and I of course, it was that speech was old, but it was rehashed and spoken about at one of the meetings, and there was even a cassette tape reproduced of it, if you can believe what a cassette tape was. So in any case, what ended up happening is I keep seeing all these people posting on the challenge that, you know, they're dropping out of the challenge because, you know, it's stress and stress is no good and blah, 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 blah. And I sit back and I go, okay, is this just true, or is this just an excuse for not being on pace or not pushing themselves? And my challenge to everyone is, if you feel that you're not making the progress that you want to make in the challenge, it's not because you're stressing out. It's because you're not applying enough stress. How do you get diamonds? It takes pressure, right? And if you're feeling uncomfortable, if you're feeling pressure, that means that you're ready to grow. Because if you're feeling comfortable, there's no growth. You can sit on your couch watching TV and there's no pressure there. Going to the gym and working out every day, 6 days a week, yeah, that's a commitment. But you have to be focused on the end result, what you want. And the main thing that Albert Gray pointed out is that successful people are willing to do more for others that they care about than they're willing to do for themselves. And I call that the Jack Bauer method of motivation. If you ever watched the television show 24, Jack always had to interview terrorists, and what he would do is he found that interviewing the terrorists and threatening a terrorist to kill them or to take their lives, they didn't care, because in their mind they had already forfeited their lives. But if you brought in their children or their loved ones or their parents and you threatened to kill them, all of a sudden the terrorists started talking. So in ourselves, we have to focus and say, if I don't achieve this, what does it really mean? You know, if I don't complete the challenge, maybe I won't do 100%, but if I don't even complete it, what does that do to me personally? Does it affect my self-confidence level? Does it make me believe I'm a loser? Does it make me believe that I can't accomplish something that I say? Am I now incongruent with myself? What if I had told somebody, I promised somebody that this was something I was going to do? Now I just broke my word. Is my word meaningless to me? Because really, quitting on the challenge is not about the challenge. It's about you, as everything else is. So I challenge everybody on this call to look and say, am I more interested in pleasing methods than a pleasing result? Am I making excuses? And one of the solutions I found, because I'm falling behind on some of the projects, because, you know, sometimes we pick too many. I mean, I had a week where my boiler was $8,000, my cat was $700 because he had a urinary tract infection that got really bad, and I didn't have internet for 5 days. And out of all those, the internet gone for 5 days was the biggest fucking deal. Excuse my French. So we all have challenges. So I just said, okay, look, I need to get back on track. I picked the goal that I was procrastinating on the most, and I said, this is my 1 week goal. By today, tomorrow, Friday, I will do X. And then I just started blocking out the time. And, you know, I was up one day till 4 in the morning, and I had to speak at 6. That was yesterday. And every day I'm up at 6 a.m. because I want to be able to say I accomplished it. Because I want to look myself in the mirror and say I didn't quit. At least I tried. You know, somebody once told me that you can win football games. You can win half of the football games that you play in if you just show up. You just show up, you're going to win half the games. The other half, you're going to have to actually play. So that's the point I have, in that it's just look at yourself during this challenge. And if you're quitting on the challenge, it's not that you're quitting on the challenge. You're quitting on yourself. And what I'm afraid of for you and for anybody that wants to do that is, what is that really communicating to yourself, to your id, to your inner being, to yourself? That you're a quitter, that as soon as things get tough or you feel a little pressure, that you just give in, you cave in? Or are you the kind of person that's in a boxing ring like a Rocky and gets hit and gets back up again? So are you going to fold, or are you going to get back up? And if you're losing motivation, what are you doing about it? Sit down and ask yourself, get inside your own head and ask yourself, why am I losing motivation? What can I do to increase my motivation? Well, are you listening to Get the Edge or any other positive tapes? Are you reading positive books? Are you associating yourself with winners, people that want to accomplish? If you're staying congruent to those things, then you're going to succeed. I see this all the time in every seminar group that I've been to. After 90 days, most of the people are no longer charged up. This group is special. People here are still in it. And why does that happen? Because of all the programming out there. Look, to think the way we think is not normal. To think that things are going to be great.
Yeah.
Think that we're going to achieve goals is not normal. Everybody in your life is going to tell you it can't be done. They're going to give you a laundry list of why it can't be done. I still hate that to this day. I would have people tell me. I had a guy when I first started my business told me, and I was doing, and in 90 days I started doing $12,000 in revenue a month, and he told me, you know what, it's not going to last. And I said, are you kidding me? I don't even have a website yet. I don't know nothing about the internet. I'm just selling on eBay. You got to be kidding me. He saw it and said, wow, this is the most you're going to do. And I saw it and said, what? I'm not even on Amazon. I don't have a website. I'm not buying advertising. I haven't even rolled this out yet. This is like dipping my foot in the water and saying, oops, that's it. That's how deep the ocean is, that deep. No. So challenge yourself. It's not normal to think this way, but you have to encourage it. You know, somebody once said that motivation is like taking a bath. It doesn't last. That's why we do it every day. So if you don't have a program for motivating yourself, if you're not listening, if you don't have a morning ritual where you get up, and this is our morning ritual for many of us, but besides this, what is going in your brain? If it's the friggin' news, if it's your work employee telling you how shit sucks, you know what? That's why you're not motivated. Listen, I went to the seminar once, and the exercise was the following. They said, tell us what your goal is and pick a business goal. So I wanted to start a business at that time. And they said, okay, 2 people are going to be with you. One is going to talk to you and tell you all the reasons why you can succeed, and the other person is going to tell you all the reasons why you're going to fail. Okay? And they said, you have the choice of paying attention to each. And they told the other 2 people to get really aggressive, to grab me, we did this to each other, of course. Grab the person, make him listen to you. Your job is to convince him that he's either going to succeed or fail. And they started going at me, and the guy that was telling me I was going to fail just grabbed me by the shoulders, turned me towards him, and said, "You're going to fail, Bert." And I said, oh, shit, maybe I shouldn't try this. And at the end of the exercise, I ended up, the guy that was telling me all the reasons why I succeed, he just stopped. He was overwhelmed by the guy that was telling me I was going to fail, because the guy with the fail had all these powerful reasons. You don't have the money. You don't have the friends. You don't have the talent. You don't have the skill. You've never done this before. And he kept pounding me with this shit. And I was like, oh, my God, he's right. And then that session was over, and everybody went through this. And then the instructor said, would you like to know what the secret is of how to accomplish that goal? And I ask you, everybody, do you want to know what that secret was, or do you know it already?
Yes, we want to know.
Yes, I want to know.
The answer is, don't listen to the guy telling you you're going to fail. Shut him up. Turn to the guy that's telling you you're going to succeed, which is this group, and listen. Because you cheerleader. You need somebody telling you you're going to do it. I used to have this thing where somebody came to me with a problem, or if I told them an idea and they told me all the reasons why I was going to fail, I'd say, you're fired. You're fired. I can get any asshole on the street, excuse the expression, but I can get any asshole on the street to tell me why it can't be done. I'm looking for somebody that can tell me how to get it done. Thomas Edison, 1,000 times failed to make the light bulb. I think it was 10,000. They asked him, you failed 10,000 times to make the filament to create the light bulb. He said, you failed 9,999 times before you figured out the right filament. He says, I didn't fail 9,999 times. I just found 9,999 ways it didn't work. So with the challenge, is this just 9,999 times that you didn't fail but just couldn't figure out how to make it work? Don't quit on the goal. Don't quit on the challenge, because all that is quitting on you. And this is a kick in the pants for me, too, because last week I was like, oh, shit, $8,000 out the door. There goes my marketing budget. There goes this. And I said, you know what? That's bullshit. I'm better than that. So
yes.
I challenge you. Focus on what you want, not on what you don't want. That's really the key.
That freaking rocked, Bert.
Round of applause for Bert.
Awesome, Bert.
Bert, that is
wow.
a bomb. I don't know if that could have been better if we scheduled this in advance. So I acknowledge you so much for stepping up and for making this call what it was. It just, wow. It's exactly what I needed. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who feels this way, right, guys?
I need it. Absolutely. Absolutely.
We always do, so.
Yeah.
Believe me, thank you.
I was there with you. I had to go back and remember, the lessons I've learned. And the sad part is, and I don't know if you guys do this, but unfortunately, outside of this group and a couple of other UPW groups, it's so easy to tell where people are in their lives. I see friends, I see girls that I know that every 3 or 4 months, their status changes from I'm totally in love with the guy to he's a scumbag, and then a month later they found the right guy, and then it goes through the same process. Then I see other people that every day are complaining about their employees, complaining about their lives, and it doesn't change. In the 5 years that I've been on Facebook, I've just watched these patterns, and I say, wow, that's what's interesting about Facebook. If it was real life, I might not see it if it was meeting somebody at a bar. But in Facebook, I get to see everybody's true nature because it can't help come out, because it's just ingrained in them. It's just part of them. And that's why I love these groups. And I don't make it to all the calls all the time, because if I'm working, doing web work, I usually work, in the middle of the night because I don't want to blow the traffic for the client. But I'm up at 6, many times when I've only had an hour sleep. And it's just to keep my head in the game. When you start running, if you're in trouble when you stop showing up to this type of thing, because that's the first step. You go, I don't need it, and guess what? That's like it's like we always sell ourselves into shit. Nobody really sells us. We sell ourselves into shit. So when we find ourselves going, well, I don't need to join in on the calls anymore, it's really you're saying, okay, I'm going to get out of this, and I really don't want to be reminded that I should stay in it, because I really don't want to do all the work.
That's so true.
That's awesome.
That's so true. Thank you for noting that, Bert. I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear either where it resonated, what you're newly committed to thanks to this call, or I want to hear from you guys what you think could be done for those who quit. What do you think the people that we know who are here every single day on these calls and are not showing up, what do you think we can do? And I am willing to share this call with them.
Hi, my name's Carolyn Rim, and I'm a rock star.
Gotcha.
Yes.
So I just wanted to say, Bert and Yali and everyone on the call, you guys make me smile. But Bert, when you were talking about, are you gonna get up, or are you gonna fight, or are you just gonna lay there and give up? And like, it just was like really getting to me, because there's been so many times in my life that I wanted to give up, but I didn't. I kept going. And that's exactly where I'm at. And yesterday, you talked about Think and Grow Rich, the book, and I was reading at my desk pretty much the whole day yesterday, just because I think the book was so powerful. But this call really, really hit it home. And just talking about protecting yourself against the negative influences around you, whether, of your own making or the result of activities and negative people around you. This is in the book. just to recognize that we have the willpower and put it into constant use until it builds a wall of immunity against negative influences in your own mind.
Yep, powerful book.
For me, that really hit home.
Yeah.
And recognizing that, other people don't have the drive that we have. And I like what you said about looking on Facebook. I don't go to my normal feed anymore. Like, if I go to my normal feed, I get depressed because I see everybody's thoughts, complaining, and everything else. I go to UPW or UPW morning calls. All I see is good stuff. And even if there is someone struggling with a challenge that's going through something, it normally inspires me not to give up because I'm going through things too, And It's not easy, but you just keep putting one foot in front of the other and you keep going and you never give up. And it really hit home for me. So thank you for letting me share.
Thank you.
Woo, Carolyn.
Thank you. And Carolyn, what do you think could be done for those who quit or those who are not showing up?
Well, Yali, I told you the other day, I think it was Tuesday morning, I missed the call, and I messaged you right away, and I was like, that night, and I said, wow, just missing that morning call. Because you have no idea, starting your morning off with something positive and inspiring like this changes your whole mindset for the day. You stop looking at all the I can't. You start looking at all the I must. You have a different mindset when you have a peer group that's at your level, that's on the same path, that wants more.
Yeah.
It's a completely different feeling, different energy. I challenge you to get on these calls. That's what I would say to the people who aren't on them. I challenge you for 1 week. Try it. See how it changes your life, your day, your goals. It's changed everything for me, really. It has. And it's helping me get through a lot of hard things that I'm going through in my life right now. So to others, I would just say I challenge you to get on the call and see how it can change.
That's awesome. How about we share some of that stuff on the group today, our whys, like why we think we should be on these calls, what they do for us, and why other people should be on. And let's share it with UPW, with the general UPW Dallas group and other groups we're on, because, for me, the vision behind these calls was just that. I have my morning calls with my best friend, my accountability buddy, Jana, and before I had those calls, I was living a different life. And in those calls, they made such a difference for me. And then I went to UPW, and I met incredible people. And, I wanted to not only give them that gift, but also make it bigger, make it better. And this is how this has been created. It's been created just out of that vision of making everybody's day incredible and maintaining that every single day.
Yeah.
So
I mean, look, how many people here are part of UPW Dallas?
I didn't hear that.
How many people here are UPW Dallas?
Yeah.
I think most.
Yeah.
I think most.
Too.
Okay, go there and take the last post. It's like 2-3 days old. That group is sizzling. Now, some people, when I've asked that question, say, "Oh, it's because we're all busy accomplishing our goals." Bullshit. Everybody's got Facebook on their cell phone, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's got Messenger. This is not that world. 3 seconds to post something. Why is the flame dying? Because Napoleon Hill says in Think and Grow Rich, and if you guys haven't read it, you got to read it. It's made more millionaires than any other book. And one of the interesting things he says is that he covers 13 principles. And he says these 13 principles are just, there's one chapter called Autosuggestion, which is the power of repetition. And he says, autosuggestion is the main principle that you will use, or the main technique that you will use to create all the other 11 or 12 principles in your life. He says the price of getting all these principles in you is perseverance. In other words, you can't repeat to yourself, do your incantation once. And I asked people this. I said, I had a guy the other night, like at 3 a.m, messages me and says, "Are there any books that you recommend?" I said, "Yeah. Did you read Think and Grow Rich? Start there." He's like, "Yeah, I read it once." No, I mean other books. I go, okay. I said, what are the 6 steps in the formula for achieving a goal? And what's the self-confidence formula? He goes, I don't know. I go, yeah, so try reading it again. It's a self-help
Think and
book.
Grow Rich is a lot more than a book. It's something that you can read over and over again. You can implement some tools. If you guys want, I also have a worksheet that relates to Think and Grow Rich. And if you guys want, after the 100-day challenge, we can even go through it together chapter by chapter. But
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Something that can be worked on for a long, long time. And you can always find new stuff there. And for those of you who haven't read it yet, it's not just about making money. It's about everything, like creating abundance in all areas of your life. And it's about, if you watch The Secret and you like the idea of being able to manifest anything, the law of attraction, it all comes and relates to that book, comes from there. So I highly recommend it as well. I personally read it like 3 or 4 times, and I'm still going through it right now.
Awesome.
The questions in the back are amazing, too. I don't know if you guys did the questions in the back, but Bert, after you mentioned yesterday, I started reading it, and it really did change my whole mindset again.
Yeah, I have an audio. I'll post it on...
that would be awesome.
Can I add it to the file section? So, but the key is don't listen to the audio once. Listen to it over and over and over again. It's repetition. In order for the incantations to work, Anthony, it'd be great, Anthony Robbins says, there are no weeds, there are no weeds. Well, the way you use an affirmation is like this. You go to your garden and you say, I have beautiful flowers. Then you bend over, take your spade, and you start digging and planting them. Because an affirmation doesn't do anything unless it's followed by action. Affirmations or incantations just help to build belief. If you don't believe in them, then go to church and listen and see what they're doing. They make people repeat things over and over again. Why? Because that's what's going to program you. It's just about programming. I mean, we're being programmed every day. You choose whether you want to be programmed positively in beliefs that are going to empower you and help you achieve the things you want in life, whether it's in any area of life. It doesn't matter. This is not about money. It's a tool, right? Yeah. Use it for what you want, but instead of being conditioned by the television and the bullshit that keeps going on. Why do you think they call it television programming? Come on, they're even telling you what they're doing to you.
Hey, this is MP.
All right, just 1 second. Just going to know we're supposed to be done, so MP is going to be the last to share unless someone has a burning desire afterwards, and then we're going to end this with wrapping out. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, just like Bert was saying, television is telling your vision. You're sitting down and somebody else is telling your vision. You're jumping up and down for somebody else to have their success. So, just like Bert said, 80% of it is just showing up, and that's the thing about it. Just showing up to these calls and getting your mind right. Yeah, it might be hard to get out of bed, but when you start to listen to the positive and finding out what's good for us this day, instead of turning on CNN, constant negative news, always talking about something negative. Get something in your mind that's really positive that actually can help you. Because the thing about, I wrote down a saying, I don't remember where I heard it, but it says, I'm successful today because I had a friend who believed in me and I didn't have the heart to let him down. So, and that could apply to somebody that's your wife. It could even be yourself. Any way that you just, whatever way you want to actually apply that, use that to actually inspire you to actually help others, because again, somebody right now is on their bended knee right now waiting for another opportunity, and if you don't rise up as a leader, they will fall down. So back to you guys.
Yes.
Powerful.
Thank you. That's really awesome. I love the little yeah. Yes.
This is Liliana. I'm a superstar.
Yes.
Actually, I'm a rising star. I wanted to ask for Bert's call today. If it's recorded, can you tell us where it's going to be posted? Because I would love for my son to hear it.
Awesome.
We need it desperately, both of us, to hear it again.
All right,
Thank
deal. I'll post it today, but there's one condition, you guys. There's one condition. This condition is that you guys each grab at least 5 people in your lives, and this could be just 5 random people on the UPW group. This could be people that you know used to call in to these calls and didn't, whatever, whoever, and you send it to them in a message. Are you up for that?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Are they supposed to be only UPWers or
wherever, whoever you want that you think will be empowered by attending these calls?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Cool. Last round of applause to Bert for stepping up today.
Yes. You rock,
Thanks,
Bert.
everyone. Have an incredible, incredible day and rock out today. Thank you, Bert.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Let me tell y'all a little something. Uptown, funky well.